Hey guys,
Hey, now how are you?
doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Great. Thanks for
Hello,
asking. Hey,
good afternoon.
Hey Christina,
Hi, good afternoon.
driving to the Bay Area, off to Sunnyvale for my first million in multifamily meetup. Jennings and Yaden's going to be in California today, and they're hosting a meetup this evening. And I thought I would drive on out and meet everybody. We'll give it a few minutes. We'll kick things off. Christina, you want to pull the first property up in
Yes.
Orlando? All right, it's 2 minutes after. I guess we can jump on in. Um, this property here, Christine and I will work through this together since I'm driving, but this is the La Quinta Inn and Suites in Orlando. It's ironically right next door to the Garnet that we currently have under contract. Um, the owner of this particular asset had reached out to me via social media and wanted to see if we would be, interested in potentially buying this hotel from them. And of course, the first question I asked was, would you be open to giving us the timeline necessary for the change of use? They said they would. Their asking price is a little on the higher side, so we wanted to kind of go through the underwriting and see what number this deal penciled off at. Before we do that, Christina, you want to go through the property summary? And why don't you go ahead and read that off for me since I'm driving, Christina?
Yes. So the La Quinta Inn and Suites opened in August 1988. It was renovated in 2008 and it has 125 keys. It is interior corridor hotel. The parking spaces has 139 with a ratio of 1.11 per key for the parking.
What's the acreage?
The acreage is 2.29 acres.
So we're a little light on parking, and it looks like it's on a smaller parcel, so I'm not sure if we're going to have much room to add additional parking. Typically, most cities want to see 1.5 parking spaces per door, this being 1.11, so we're certainly shy. We may have to ask for a variance and or possibly add some additional parking spaces. Does it indicate the zoning? I know that the zoning will allow for multifamily because it's close to a
Yes,
project that we're
yes.
currently under contract with.
Yeah, it says here zoning is industrial 3 county.
Okay. Great. And then let's go ahead and look at the analytics really quick.
Here's the pictures first.
Oh yeah, let's dive into the pictures. So I believe they purchased this in 21 for
June
around 6
2021.
million. Yeah, June 2021 for I think just over 6 million. They had put on a new roof, have done some significant updates as far as interior wise. With that being said, we certainly would like the fact that it's been updated somewhat, but a lot of the cosmetic updates are not necessarily going to be relevant since we are going to be converting this into apartments. So I believe they were looking for around 9 million as far as a sales price. They'd be willing to do a seller carryback. At 9 million, we're around $72,000 per key. And in this market, we're typically buying hotels for around 50,000 per key. And so we submitted an offer at 6.25 million. Let's go ahead and kind of scroll through the pictures, look at the location. So definitely centrally located. Can you see the garnet by any chance on that picture, Christina?
No,
Or is it not in that frame?
it's not in that frame. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I was just curious if there would be an image above showing how close it was to the garnet. That's okay. Next slide. Oh,
The analytics.
yes. You want to read off the analytics for me?
So the analytics, the market exit price is 215,000 per unit.
Okay.
And then the absorption rate is 354. Population growth in 5 years is 0.6%. And the vacancy rate is 5.8%.
That's interesting
And
that the population growth is, at a 0. Do you have the analytics for the garnet that you can pull up really quick?
this is the one that I
Wondering.
use, the one that we use for Garnet.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder if it's because it's in a light industrial area, it's not necessarily reflecting, an accurate population growth. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go to the underwriting.
For the rents,
Oh, yep.
like
First, we
this
got to do rent comps.
the rent comps. So the average rent in this area is 1,193.
Okay.
Uh,
And then the price per square foot, most
the
importantly.
price for the price per square foot is averaging $3.37 per square feet.
All right. Certainly a magic number. We like to see anything over $3 per square foot. That's great.
And then
And then
the
let's check out the
underwriting.
underwriting. So this is at
So this
6.25 million.
yeah, 6.25 million.
And I believe we have the rents at 1350.
Yeah, yes,
Oh.
no, 1,133 for the rent.
Okay, great. What do we have
Conservative.
what do we have for the square footage as far as the rent for the garnet?
300 for the Garnet. Let just check it quickly. Give me just a minute. For the Garnet, we have $3.71 per square feet, and the rate is 1,300 for 350 square feet room.
Okay, so a little bit more per square foot. I wonder if we could match that price per square foot to reflect what we're buying the Garnett for, but we can look into a little deeper. I don't know if we're going to get to that $9 million strike price that the seller wants, but possibly maybe get closer to 7.5 to 8. So we'll have to relook at that. Why don't we set up a call and dive into this a little deeper, maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
And I believe Dan was going to jump on and present something.
Yes. Yeah, we will present the Bijou West and the Scarlet.
Okay.
Hello, Dan.
Yep, I am here. I am actually currently trying to find parking outside of my daughter's school, so a little bit of
So let's
driving
start
in
with the
circles
Bijou
here.
West first.
Yeah, for sure. We could do that.
Brendan, this is the deal that you sent us, the Bijou West.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
yeah, this is the one that Brendan sent over to us.
Yes.
This one's just Colorado Springs, Colorado. Go to the property summary. Christina, could you read that off for me, and just for a few minutes here
Yes.
until I find a parking spot, if you could, please.
So this is a 3-star low-rise apartment. This is a 3-star low-rise apartment built in 1972 with 148 units. It has 3 stories and the land acreage is 3.2 acres. And the asking price for this property is 21.5 million.
Yeah, so this property, it's kind of a unique one. And speaking with the broker on it, originally it was a hotel, and then during COVID, it was used as student housing. In 2021, I believe it was, for the college that's not too far from there. They were granted a variance for that by the city, and then once that was up, it's currently operating as a hotel now, but it's being leased out by the Broadmoor, I believe it is, who is a hotel company, and they're using it as housing for the international employees that are staying on the property or locally working at their hotels. So speaking with the broker, he said that they signed a 5-year lease a year and a half ago on this property. And they just this past month, the last month, they extended that another 5 years. So now in total, they have a 10-year lease on the property, which will kind of complicate things a little bit as far as doing the conversion on it. But go ahead and go to the next slide, Christina. Here's a couple of pictures of the property. And the inside of it. Looks like it's in really good shape. And there's a view from above. It's got quite a bit of office space in that's building off to the left. There's a kitchen in there and some meeting spaces as well. And there's a look at the property. It's just off of one of the local freeways there. Since I am still driving, I don't know exactly where that is. Off of what freeway that is. I guess I'm assuming that's the 25.
Interstate 25.
Okay. Next slide then. And there's another look at it from above. Next slide. And the analytics on the property are not phenomenal, but they're good. The absorption rate is positive at 139. Population growth is a little mild at only 1.7. And the exit price is at 222,000 a door. The submarket vacancy rate's a little bit on the higher side at 11.2. But overall, not terrible analytics. Next slide, Christina. So I worked the underwriting on the property. I kind of ran off some assumptions at first as far as the room sizes because I didn't speak with the broker, but the broker did confirm with me that the rooms are about 300 square feet. So that wasn't too far off on my model there. And at this, with those numbers and the market rents, I pulled up the closest apartment complex and got rent comparables on that on what they were charging a square foot and came up with a price point at $6 million. It is a little bit off of their asking price at the 21, so not too sure how they would feel about that. But I'm going to look at the due diligence files on it and see if we can't work something out since there is a lease on there. The broker did say that they might be willing to negotiate that or work with that. Maybe work out some kind of situation where they end up renting back the apartments once it's converted, and stay there during the timeline process, which might even help bolster some of the numbers and maybe raise that price point up a little bit if we get some income coming in every month on that property for those leases, and say remodel a third of the property and kind of do it in portions, like we've done on or discussed doing on some of the other projects. Next slide. All right. Any questions on that one or input? Oh, you're muted, Brendan.
Yeah, I see that you have it at 21. I know I saw it for 19 the other day. And I know you spoke with the broker. But that's where I saw it at first. I did not know that they were even leasing out anything to anybody right now.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, you are correct. I remember him saying that it was originally listed at the 21 million, but they dropped that price to the 19.8, like you're saying. I think it's 19.8 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I think they came up with that price based on that thing being fully occupied. And they're collecting 100%, and then they hit that 19 basically at that 148 units. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I believe so. I went through and I counted I went through the drawings myself that they had on the floor plans, and I came up with, I spoke with them about it. I think it was like 159 units is what I came up with. So I adjusted it to that number. Even to kind of maximize some of that too, we might even be able to, the one bedrooms that they have essentially are just two units combined together. We could always close that back up and do all studios to maybe help out with some of those numbers on there, to maximize the dollar per square foot that we're getting on that as well. So yeah, once I take a second look at it, or a look into the due diligence files, I might be able to come up with a different number than that. But as it stands right now, it's definitely a little far off from what they're asking for.
Because I know that like when I did like kind of like a back of the napkin type thing, I was coming around like 12.5 or so, somewhere in that zone. Is that somewhere where you landed as well?
No, that's the 6 million is the number that I came up with just based on
Okay. Yeah.
the studios and one bedrooms. What were you factoring in for the capex on each unit?
19.
Okay, yeah, we factor. When I did that, I factored in at 25 per unit, which is typically what we do on those. So yeah, just speaking with the broker, he said there's no kitchenettes or anything like that in those units currently. It's just basically a hotel room. There were some upgrades done, but I think it was pretty minimal. Just some kind of cosmetic ones that he said were done.
So I'm not that far off track here, right? I'm starting to kind of grasp it. This one is definitely not a dud, correct?
Yeah, I think there's some potential there. I think that they're probably, like I said, they're probably basing it off of that lease, the lease payments that they're getting. Maybe they've got a pretty good without looking at the due diligence files yet, they might have some pretty good income coming in on those properties that might make it more profitable. All right. Do you have anything to add at all, Stephen, on that?
Seems like we're pretty far away in price though, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit on what they're asking for, about a third of their asking price. Um, yeah, but I mean, if we could factor in a way to include some of that the rental or the lease rates while we're doing the remodel, that might help it a little bit, but I don't know how much.
What market is this in? This is in Colorado?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the common space look like?
There's quite a bit of it there. There's there's that whole separate building. It's got a few thousand square feet of room where you could probably do some quite a few different things there inside of that third building or second building, I guess.
Yeah, I was curious
I mean,
if we can add like a self-storage element.
Oh yeah, we probably definitely could factor something like that in as well. There's, I believe it's a 3-story building that's there as well. That we could definitely do something with and see if that doesn't bolster the underwriting. They
Okay.
are asking for just about just under $134,000 a door or a key on that one. The exit prices are $222, I believe.
222. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd probably be able to strike some around $70,000 a key.
Yeah, I could see some potential there if we factor in some of the lease and like I mentioned, doing portions at a time possibly of the unit since it's got kind of that U-shaped.
Okay.
All right, and then
What
we
else
could
you got?
touch bases. We could touch bases on the Scarrett, that building in Kansas City.
Yeah. Let's do that.
This building is the one that Bo brought to us in Kansas City, Missouri. To trying to figure out exactly how it's laid out. It says that it's 2 buildings there, but they're all connected as one, it looks like. So little confusing to me, but we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Here's a look at the property. It's about just under 130,000 square feet, with about 10,000 on each floor. It's 13 stories and sits on 0.3 acres. Next slide. There's a look at the inside. It's a really pretty building on the inside and on the outside. I actually spoke with a historic tax credit gentleman today, and he was taking a look at some of the pictures and was really impressed with some of the outside, the facade, and some of the artwork on the outside of the building as well. Next slide, please.
This is for the second building, the
Okay, for the
819 Walnut.
arcade. Okay. Again, a little confused. The building was built in 1906 as well. Next slide, Christina. There's a look again at that. Really looks like it's in really good shape for sure. Next slide. And here's a look at the building and the surrounding buildings. It's kind of right in the heart of downtown there, close to the T-Mobile Center, the District Court, City Hall, lots of things close by. Next slide. And a look at the analytics. The analytics are pretty solid. The absorption rate's at 447, which is close to what we like to see. Typically about 500 there, but it is nearing that number. Population growth is great at 4.6%. An exit price of 244,000 a unit, and the vacancy rate in the market is at 8.6%. Next slide, Christina. Here's a look at the underwriting. This was a brief one that I did a few days ago. Stephen and I discussed trying to look at a couple of different angles on this one. But I believe the auction is going, they're looking for a minimum bid of 4 million on the property. When I did this initial underwriting at only 1 million, it did not pencil. But we're going to take a look at some of the historic tax credits on there. One thing I did find is that when the way it's being presented now, with some of the underwriting or the models that they use, they're using very high end Class A apartment complexes for their comps, which is really bolstering their numbers. And I don't believe that some of the rents that they are looking to get are achievable in that market. They will also use their numbers that they came up with for their different floor plans, using their numbers for the room counts and room sizes as well. Next slide, please. And that is it. Any questions or input on that building?
Did you get a chance to do the underwriting with the tax credits, Dan?
No, I did not get a chance to do that yet. Hopefully I can get
Okay.
that done and have it on in time for next week's presentation on that one.
Yeah, I'd be curious to
And
see what that looks like with the tax credits.
And I did speak with Andrew today with the historic tax credit firm, and I passed along a text message to you earlier. Not sure if you saw it, but it's with that building and the way that Kansas City, Missouri does their historical tax credits. You're in order to get the tax credit, you have to spend the 100% of the adjusted basis value of the property. So say the value of the property is worth 20 million, you have to spend 20 million in order to get that that tax credit or those tax credits.
Got it. And then what is the CapEx on this at $150 a square foot? And we at the 20 million?
I do not believe so. I don't know what the building's valued at. In discussing the property in Chicago, I know the taxes on that property was assessed at 25. So they're estimating somewhere in the 20 to 22 million range. I don't know what this one is. We could always take a look at that tax basis and go from there.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Any questions?
Yeah, so do you guys ever
Right.
look at like basically vacant gutted complexes that are like anywhere from 80 to even 508 units?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Dan, I saw your
You got
message
something
down there,
you wanted?
Brian. I dropped my email in there.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, what market is this property in?
So one is in Louisiana. Or sorry, let me back up. Are you talking with me?
Yep.
Yeah, so one was in Louisiana. That one was 508 units. Real close to New Orleans. And then the other one was in Georgia, in the Huntsville area.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, send them on over and we'll take a look.
Okay.
All right, well, you caught us both driving today, apparently. We're both on the road.
Yeah.
Certainly appreciate everyone joining, but wanted to hold the call regardless and jump through some of the properties that we're looking at. Yeah, we should be moving forward on a few of these actually. as soon as we kind of bake that, those tax credits, we certainly want to consider this Garrett building. We have something in Chicago we're looking at pretty closely as well. So we have a couple large office to multifamily redevelopments that we're looking at. Super exciting. So stay tuned. We will update you with those how those deals progress next week. Otherwise, if there's no questions, thanks for joining. And if you have anything that you'd like us to take a look at, shoot the team an email. Christina will put her email address in the chat box. I believe Dan is there as well. So send those deals up to us and we'll take a look and review them on our next call next Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Brendan. We'll
Thanks,
connect this
everyone, for
week or
joining.
next.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks
All
everyone.
right, John.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.